Good morning, everyone. My name is Anne-Marie Band, and today is Wednesday, June the 28th. This is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. Taking a look at gold, we're going to start here for a bit because this trend is really breaking. You can see it on the daily formations really coming in, right? And so we've got the weeklies. My suspicion is that this chart has a fair bit of downside left on it as it begins to retrace. A lot of things are starting to retrace from this commodities perspective, particularly. Now, the reason that I was able to see that that was a likely space is by looking at the gold futures. For those of us who do trade the futures market, I am one of those. I would say that, again, bounces are sell zones, and the next place they are looking at this region around 1900. The gold bugs are going to say, hey, that's a nice round number, let me try and bounce from there. The same way they came in and said, hey, listen, we just filled the gap, let me try and bounce from there. So look at these daily formations and see where all of this congestion is, and when the break comes from the congestion, you know that you've got continuation down into the next space. And my supposition is that we head quite a bit lower from that case. Overnight, we had the more information on these AI chips that the government's starting to get concerned about. And yeah, I'm not sure what the noise is about. Legislation probably has been in the works for this, but coming into the end of the month with this kind of news, it seems to make sense that people would take some profit. And so we're looking at semis coming in just a little bit. And what are they doing? See this last flag pattern that it broke out of, old resistance, new support. Chances are it's going to bring in another fade. What are the big powerhouses? We've got NVIDIA that had a bit of a monster fade. So we are looking at NVIDIA struggling in this area, pulled back a fair bit in the overnight, but is again bouncing at this 395 to 400 zone, getting up again over 412, going to be fairly important. I still think this is just a releasing of a little pressure. A lot of people do not want to miss out on this, and NVIDIA is sort of like a cult stock. Okay, so we watch these levels. Could it come into 391? Yes. My suspicion is there's going to be enough volatility for us to work out an iron condor here, and the short bull put spread that we have, we're going to navigate around that just a wee bit and bring that into a space. Otherwise, we're just going to have to get out and take our lumps. That's just what happens sometimes. All right, let's go to SPY. I know it's unusual that I start the morning in those wide angle spaces. There's just a lot of news going on out there, and it is what it is. Okay, so starting with SPY, we are in a recovery of the prior week. That means that we're still inside of this large space, which was my supposition for the week in general. We have the 438 on the top end. We have the 430 on the bottom end. What's happening right now? It's coming into the space. I still think that we test around the 430. This is an area of time that normally has a great deal of positive seasonality around it. A lot of people are talking about that. But that positive seasonality, this upward move has been a bit historic. So that's going to push the relativity of how accurate that seasonality will be in my mind. So my suspicion is we still bounce into a region where we bump into sellers. We've just got to take a little breath. If the market is as strong as those of us who are bullish thinking that it will be strong, it's going to chop here and resolve, and everybody's going to come up into this space and say, okay, I agree this is a fair price. Right now, there's not a lot of that. There's not a lot of, hey, I agree this is a fair price. We want to look at something like this. And although it looks ugly, it's really a beautiful place to trade, and it's healthy for the market. Okay, so that's really what we're looking at. Levels remain the same as yesterday. Again, 438 on that high end. We saw it come into 437 and collapse. So we could expand. Where are the buyers going to get particularly excited? Listen, we get up over 436. That means we break the overnight high. Buyers are going to get more excited if people are short, particularly if people are short. That's going to be pretty important. Jerome Powell speaks today at 9:30. We've got crude inventories, wholesale inventories already came in, and we've got some bank stress tests, which is really CYA, whatever. Okay, so that's it for that. Let's take a look at the Qs. The Qs are doing the same thing inside of 2 weeks ago, really trying to recover over this edge. What are the traders going to do here? What are we looking at? Same sort of things, folks. I have not drawn any new lines since our time together yesterday. And here we are at the top, 364, 365. Top end, seller's going to pile in there. When are the buyers going to get super excited about what's happening? One, we get out of here. The shorts are going to go, holy cow, I got to get out of here. And two, if we come into the base at around 357 that we also saw yesterday, buyers are going to pile in there. So make some notes, set an alert. That's where buying action is going to be in general. Now, when will we be wrong? If it loses 357, and when it bounces, it cannot get up over 358, that's the warning signal that you are not flowing with everyone else. My thought is the movement's upside, make for the good short, and there we have it. Okay, let's take a look at the ES. For those of us that trade the futures, still looking at the same thing. A couple of very good traders that I listen and watch said, hey, listen, did we make a new low? A low that's going to hold? I don't know. Here's my thought. My thought is buyers came in 2 days in a row here. Okay? That's pretty good. 2 days in a row. Now, where are we in terms of the range? Well, we can't get up over 44.23. It seems that we're locked there. So my thought is, if we get up over there, first folks come in, will be sellers. If we come in and we hold the pre-market low and we start to bounce again, that's more buying to the upside. If we bounce up there, what is most likely? Well, from a probabilistic perspective, lower highs, lower lows, except for yesterday, which might be an anomaly. We don't know yet. Lower highs, lower lows. Everybody's been selling up at this 44.24. So if you're long, you might go, I better take some profit at 44.24, raise my stop. And it could go into 44.39. A lot of people thinking, hey, we're off to the races again. I'm not so sure. I don't mean to sound woo-woo, but the reason that I tried to stay by myself is because I am very sensitive to energetic fields around me. And there is just a weird, I don't know what it is, but I don't know, maybe it's the strawberry moon. But whatever the case is, there's a strange little weird vibe going on, and it feels like sideways action. Could I be wrong? Do I care about that? Well, I'm always sensitive to how I'm feeling, but I don't really care about it because what I'm going to do is come back to price and go, well, is price affirming the things that I might be thinking/feeling? And that's really what we want to do as traders. We definitely want to do that. So the bottom line is, oh my heavens, sorry about that. So this is what we are looking for. This morning, 2 days ago, we want to make sure that that 4,400 holds. If it doesn't, sellers are going to try and walk it back down. Whenever it gets to one of these key levels, what you want to do is say, how are traders behaving? Whether if it's coming from underneath, you say, okay, I know it's a series of lower highs, lower lows. Let's see where that exhausts. And it's going to come right back into your prior levels. Same thing here. As it's coming down now, you're going to think to yourself, wait, this was old resistance, old support, new resistance. I just broke through it, but my trend is down. So I am likely to break it. If I come in and it holds the higher low, I know I'm going to be able to move to the upside again. It's just a very tactical way to trade when the market does not have a ton of general direction. Okay, and that's essentially where it is that I think we sit. Taking a look finally at the Qs, we're seeing the week. Look at this. This is very different to the ES and the SPY. Very different because we are underneath the close of a week that had a low. Okay? And so now we are still looking down into these spaces, haven't drawn any lines, new lines, same ones as yesterday. What do we want to do? Lower highs, lower lows. Look at this bottoming. They are trying to put a floor in. But every time they've come into real resistance, they've turned around and moved south. So where are they headed? Probably back down here, right? They've already moved under the close of the prior day. So that's got sellers involved. Now they're trying to hold this heavy congestion. Watch it here, right? When you're watching this heavy congestion, it's coming into a line. Don't estimate, hey, it's going this way, so I'm doing this. Get right down into the formation and say to yourself, okay, what is the fight doing? Well, we can look over here and go, okay, here is the place that everybody's congested, that area of business where everybody's decided everything's okay. And then here is the push of buyers shoving us right up into this stage. So what are they going to try to do? They're going to try and hold this again, right? So if you're thinking about buying, the floor to where your buy zone is all the way down here. If you're thinking about selling, that's old resistance, which could be new support. So it's very, very sideways. My thought would be let them try to bounce, and if they fail, then you can move in. Or if you take the short immediately here, just say to yourself, hey, listen, this thing does not need to break past 15,040 or I'm sitting in the wrong direction, okay? You just have to follow flow. All right, that's it for me, folks. See you on the platform. Take care.